going to give you this mic back. But what I'm going to say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.
Ooh, I have half a battery. Ooh, let's see what I can do with it. Ooh. Sorry for saying that. Welcome to my universe. Welcome back to my universe. Ooh, Jodia, I'm going to tell you like 3 different stories, and I mean that's if I can make it through. Damn, my battery's about to die. Ahora. Bueno, so I am going to paint my nails because I'm back at it again with the bare fingernails. Ayy. And I'm also going to tell you about this man who I had the displeasure of meeting the other day. Yes, during quarantine, I had to step out. I actually did. It wasn't life or death or nothing like that, but like I had to step out, you know. So first, I'm just moisturizing my fingers. I'm using my Skin Goods homemade body butter. And this is like the sample size container. It smells so good. This one is called Equinox, and it smells like ocean breeze, but like it has a sweet fragrance to it. Like it's kind of sweet, like a sweet smell. It's so pleasant. It's so fresh, like clean laundry, like a nice clean shower, like not like Dove soap. Like it doesn't smell like soap to me. It just ay. Okay, I'm done.
And the lights get out, slow motion, I freeze you, watch me, sample me, reduce me to soundbite, hear me, no don't you, just nod your head, don't try to change it, I said what I said, hit you with a playback, I said what I said, look what I did.
If I'm looking down, it's because I'm painting my fingernails. If I look the same in the next 3 videos, it's because I'm about to tell you like 3 different stories, or maybe 2 of them. We'll see. Vamos a ver. So the first one, I just want to talk about this experience that I had because it was recent, and I decided I'm going to start to like capture these moments. Maybe not like recording in real time because I don't really do that kind of thing, but like talking about it after it happens, especially so that I can remember the details, especially when people have tried me. So I have been looking for a new apartment. When I say looking, I mean searching, like looking for Alaska, because I'm not even going to get into all the stuff that I have to say about the place that I'm currently in. I'm going to compile all of that stuff into one long video, and then I will put that out. So until then, I'm going to just keep my mouth shut. But see, I was looking for a new apartment, and this time around, I'm just like, you know what, I'm not in the same place as I was in before, like literally physically, but you know, in other ways as well. So I have an idea in mind of the kind of place I want to live in, the area. Like I don't want to move to a town where I am the fly in a bowl of milk, meaning, and those of you who, you know, look like me, you know what I'm talking about, or maybe you know what I'm talking about. But I don't want to have those experiences. One of the things that I appreciate about the places that I've grown up in is there were always people who look like me around, with the exception of when I went to live with my legal guardian in her neighborhood. I'm not gonna lie, there were not a lot of people who look like me. But see, with the exception of that, yeah, there were people who look like me around, next door, going to the same stores as me. I don't take that for granted. I really appreciate that. And in my adult life, my young adult life, I want to continue that, you know. I'm like, I'm not trying to like be wild. It's bad enough, like with what the media does to put all these images out there of black people dying all the time and getting killed and pulled over by cops and stuff like that. That creates enough anxiety. I think going to a place where you are like the only person or the first black person they've seen, that just makes it worse. I'm not trying to do any of that. My middle school days were enough for me. So anywho, with that being said, this place, that it was in the place where I would, or in a space where I wouldn't mind living. You know, I like the location. I like certain things about the place, so I requested a tour. Like I just asked, I sent like a little message on the site so that the person could contact me, and then the email just said, "Call me, thanks," or something. "Call me when you get a chance, please," or something like that. Thanks. So I call the person, right? And it's a guy. I'm gonna name him Cardboard. So I call the man and he asks me questions. He asks me, you know, do I have a job right now, considering there's a pandemic? Like, how many people are going to move in? Do I have any pets? What's my credit score? He asked me these questions and I answered them. It was nothing like nothing I haven't had to answer before, basically. Nothing I hadn't heard before. So I answer those questions and stuff, and he asks me, when I tell him actually that the price for the place, I'm wondering if there's any way like he could just reduce that, because you still have to pay for utilities too. And then he told me the minimum, where in this area there is a minimum amount for the number of rooms in the space or whatever. So he said that is the minimum. He was like, you're not going to find another place in this area for the same amount, with that, given the amount of space that the place is for, and the fact that it has like 1.5 bedrooms. It's not really like a 2-bedroom place, but it's listed as 2 bedrooms. And I told him, well, I don't need 2 bedrooms. That's okay. Like, I like the apartment. I was willing to pay, or I was willing to migrate to that side and to that place because of, you know, the options that were around at the time. But I'm like, well, I'm willing to pay that amount, but not if I have to pay utilities on top of that. Like, my camera died. All right, can you focus on me? Ooh, I think it's focused. But we'll see. I'm like, I'm willing to pay that amount, but then when I see that there's like when he told me that there were utilities included, I'm like, oh no, never mind. It's okay. I'm good. And he was like, okay. And we hung up. Like, he hung up the phone, and that was the end of that. The next day, I get a call from, or an email from him, and I'm confused. So that was on a Sunday that we had the initial phone call. This was Memorial Day weekend, so not too long ago. And then on Monday, he emails me and he tells me that he says, call me please, thanks, or something like that. And then he asks me if I want to go tour the place. And I told him I'm confused because we already acknowledged that you're not going to reduce the price. And if you're not going to reduce the price, there's no way I'm going to continue to look elsewhere. Like, it's very simple, sir. Very simple. So, you know, he was like, yes, I know. And he like mumbles some stuff I couldn't understand. He does have a little bit of an accent, but I just didn't understand what he said. But he said something after that about how I can compare it to the other places that I'm looking at. And I thought, okay, well, mind you, I haven't met him yet. So I'm like, okay, I guess. You know what? I'm not gonna lie, it felt like a sign from God. I'm very spiritual. I believe the universe is always trying to show me things, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So I was like, oh, you know, like maybe it's a sign from Quaid. And I decided, like, I texted my boyfriend and I told my boyfriend what the guy said, and he was like, well, we can go see, you know, like if it's in an area that you like, if it's near, if it has these kinds of things nearby, whatever. Because like I said, I had an idea of the kind of area I want to live in and the kind of building and whatever else. And I hate Filing My House. The sound. But if you clip your nails, you're more likely to get splinters in your nails, which makes it hard for them to grow back long and strong. Alright, this is going to have to suit it for now because it's distracting me. So then, my boyfriend's like, well, I guess we could go see, you know, like we'll see if you like it and whatnot. Maybe it is a sign. So we can go check it out later on in the week, right? So that's what we do. And this was the other day when this happened. So he sends me the address, it was never listed on the websites where I found the listing. It just showed you what street it was on, and it kind of, I'm not gonna lie, the map shows it in one place, but it actually, when he gave me the address, it was a totally different place. And I liked it because the building looked more like my kind of building. I don't like, you know, those buildings where it looks like you're living on a dorm, you know, where it's like all these adults are in this big building. I'm more of a house kind of girl, but of course we all gotta take steps to get there, right? So until I can rent a house and pay it off, which I think I can do that soon, with my work ethic and my determination, and just the fact that I've lived in apartments from like age 8 to something something and I'm over it. That'll motivate me to get myself into an actual house someday. But I'll see, until then, you know, I'm like, I can still be somewhat particular about where I decide to live. So when we pulled up to the place, I was glad to see that it wasn't actually in a huge building like the map showed it on the listing. He's standing outside waiting. We pull up, and I walk up to him. There are these people sitting next door on the porch, and they are people of pigment, okay? Like, and that's a good sign to me, because I'm like, okay, so there's different kinds of people in the area. There are also like different kinds of stores. Like there was a halal something, and there's this, yeah, all kinds of stuff. So I was glad to see that as well. So we walk up, and my boyfriend and we put our masks on. He doesn't have a mask on, which I thought was interesting, because I'm like, hello, pandemic. But he doesn't have a mask on. And anywho, we walk in, and he unlocks the door. He opens it. There's this huge rug in the area, and it wasn't there in the photos of the place, but he just had the rug there for some reason. I opened the closet. I looked around. It's very spacious. My boyfriend and I were looking around. My boyfriend was like, I like it, babe. He was like, it's very big, like almost too big for you, since it's just one person. And this one of the rooms had like another room attached to it, like a very small porch or sunroom type thing. And I'm like, ooh, that's great for like a studio. That's great for like a film studio, not film studio, like for real, but just for when you're recording stuff. Like if you're into that kind of thing, this is the kind of apartment that you would definitely like. And the sunroom was great. Like if you were trying to do photo shoots, if you're trying to do any kind of videography, anything, like even with sound, like with recording audio and stuff, I'm like, it's a nice little room, you know? So I really liked it. And then we went in the other bedroom, and it wasn't as big, but almost as big, minus the sunroom, of course. The bathroom tub, though, had like these weird not yellow, but like brown stains or orange stains, like rust. And I didn't understand that. And my thing is like, this is my thing with people who are renting out buildings. I think it is so pitiful when you have like dents in the wall and stuff like that, and you don't even try to do nothing about it. You just try to sell it to the person as is. I'm like, that is so disrespectful. Would you want to like sit in a bathtub where there are stains that look like boo boo? I'm sorry, but like, would you want to sleep on, or not sleep, would you want to sit on a bathtub that looks like it has like poop stains smeared out? Like, I'm getting a bad visual, never mind. I didn't appreciate that. And I look down like, bruh, you know, I didn't appreciate that at all. But yeah, so then he asks us a question. Like, I asked him a few questions, like how many people are in the building? I mean, how many units are there? You know, is there laundry? What utilities are included? He told me the place has, you pay gas and you pay electric, and the stove is gas, so you're going to pay a lot more in gas each month because the stove is not electric. So you're going to be paying the bills that cost more. And like I said, that's not going to work for me. So it was like, okay, well, I looked at it, I can compare it to places that I've seen, and I've seen places that are better than this. So that's what I'm thinking in my head. But still taking it in, appreciating the space and what have you. He asked us if we have pets, and my boyfriend said no. And he asked, this is the thing. We're in the bedroom, right? And he asks us, he's like, how he's looking at my boyfriend, or he's looking at my boyfriend when he's asking me this, and he has this look on his face like he's not disgusted, but like he's bothered. And he says, how many occupants will there be? And I already told him on the phone that it's just me. All these questions on the phone, he started to ask me them again, starting with how many occupants there will be. And my boyfriend was like, just her. And then he asked me another question that he already asked me on the phone. And then he asked me, do you drive? And my boyfriend answered for me. I don't. But my boyfriend was like, or no, he was like, do you have a car? And my boyfriend answered for me. He was like, yes. Because I think he just didn't like the look on his face and why he was asking me certain questions, like we didn't already just go over this like a few days ago. And plus the look on his face, it was just weird. I'm like, what is up with you? Why does he seem like he's bothered or something? Like he wants us to hurry up and get out of the place or something. Every time we went into a room, he would come in right afterwards. And I'm like, social distancing, sir. Social distancing. 1, 2, like he came in, turn off the light. Like we go into another room, turn off the light, close the door or something. Just like weird stuff like that. I'm like, what is his problem? I've gone to plenty of apartments. Last year, when I was really, really looking for Alaska, I went to several apartments, and I was free to open every door, to flush the toilet, run the water. I was free to do all kinds of stuff, and I did not experience any of what this man was doing, which was the most, okay? So, I'm trying to, hold on, let me like recalculate. So he's like following behind us. He asks me if I drive, asks me if I have a car, asks me how many people are moving in, asks me if I'm working, and he asked me if I looked for other places yet. And I said I did, and I'm like, you already know that because I told you this the other day, and you told me, okay, well, if you wanna keep looking for other places, and come here and compare it, da 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 da. So it was just weird. So anywho, we go downstairs, we look at the laundry. There's 4 units in the building, and yet there's only one washing machine, one laundry machine. I thought that's kind of strange. Because how is it that you have like 4 families here, or not? I'm not the 4th family, but like you have 3 other families here and stuff, and all one laundry, like only what? 1 washer, 1 dryer, sir? Okay. Anywho, I was like, that's a little interesting. But then we walk out. He closes the door, and then I told him, well, thank you. I like some parts of it. I'm gonna keep looking though. And he was like, okay. And then he kind of had this like nonchalant kind of attitude. Like when he responded, just kind of shrugged. He was standing like this, like he wasn't very interested, like his time had been wasted or something. He didn't come off angry to me. He came off bothered, truly bothered. And I just didn't understand where that was coming from. So anywho, he says to me after I tell him I'm gonna keep looking and stuff, and I said, like, if I decide something, I'll keep in touch and I'll let you know, or something like that, just to be courteous. I knew I wasn't really I was going to look for something that was less expensive, probably not as much space, and closer, whatever else. But just to be courteous, I'm like, oh, I'll keep in touch, that kind of thing. And then he's like, yeah, well, if you can afford it. Literally, well, yeah, if you can afford it. He's just shrugging like that. And I'm like, and he said it to me multiple times. He said it in that time that we're standing outside of the not of the building, but of the unit, still in the lobby. He said that to me at least 2 times, if I can afford it. And even on the initial phone call, he said to me, if you can't, when I told him, well, I don't need 2 bedrooms, so it's okay. And then he's like, oh, if you can't afford it, I understand. I'm like, sir, I just said I can afford the place, but I know that there's no reason for me to spend that much money on rent. There's no reason. I'd much rather I'm better off saving that money and investing it in myself, in my visions and whatever else. I'm like, sir, I know you're trying to like low-key gummy right now, but it's okay. I'm gonna show you the grace. I'm gonna show you the grace that you don't even deserve. But just to be an example for you, for that I'm gonna be graceful to you as you try to disrespect me over and over again. So yeah, he's like, if you can afford it, then yeah, you can send me an email, that kind of thing, right? And I said, okay, so how would I apply? He was like, I would have to give you an application. So then me, the man, cardboard, and my boyfriend stand there, and I said, so are you going to give me an application, sir? And he's like, oh, sure, of course. Like, what is your problem, bro? I'm sorry, is this your first time doing this? I'm just like, ¿estás estúpido o qué? I didn't understand what is his issue. But yeah, he goes into the apartment, like he opens it, and then he starts walking over to something, I don't know, the closet, to grab something. And then he says, and then he comes out and he's like, well, do you want to keep looking for other places? I mean, why waste an application? That's what he said to me. Why waste an application? I can't even paint my nails properly because the situation happened like a couple of days ago, and I'm hot just thinking about it. It didn't make me upset in the moment. I think that, like, I noticed it, of course, and I looked at my boyfriend like, do you notice dude is weird as hell? But I think that I just have witnessed so much stuff and heard people say such foul things that at this point, I just, it didn't shock me. I just continued to ask him to remain level-headed and ask him questions like, just so that I know I've checked off all my boxes of information I wanted to hear from you about this place in particular. So yeah, he said, if you can even afford it, he was like, I mean, why waste an application? Oh, and before I asked him how I would apply, before he said if I can still afford it, if I can even afford it or something like that, this man he asked me, what is my credit score? Mind you, he already asked me this over the phone. And I don't think that he forgot. I think that I sound like a different person, or not a different person, but you can't really guess who I am or my ethnicity or whatnot just from speaking to me. I don't think I have an accent. I've been told that I don't talk like I'm from the Midwest, yeah. But I've also been told, I've been told a few things. I don't have like an accent, but yeah, I don't think I have an accent despite what I've been told. Anywho, I don't talk like I am from any place in particular, in my opinion. You cannot just place me from this place or that place or this place or that place, And I've been told I sound like a white person on the phone. I think that just depends on who you ask. Like, people think if you don't sound black, then you sound white. Like, there's not a whole other group of different, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are all these different kinds of people that you can sound like if we're going to do that. But yeah, I think that over the phone, he probably assumed that I was anything other than what I look like, maybe. Because the way he looked at me, this man was so disrespectful. I'm gonna have to put this down for this one, just to wrap this up, because he was so disrespectful that, oh, if you can afford his stuff, But the kicker, one of the kickers for me, before he even said all that, was when he asked me what my credit score was. He was like, oh, what is your credit score? What is your credit score? Something like that. Making that kind of face, like he smells something funny. And it's his upper lip. So he asked me, what is my credit score? And I tell him, I was like, I have and I checked it this, like, the morning of, and I said, this is my score from Equifax, this is my score from TransUnion. They're not that far apart. And he literally looked at me, he was like, do you know why your score is so low? Do you know why your score is so low? I don't know, the government, honey. I don't know. I didn't come up with the credit score scale. And my score is, I looked at him and I said, my score is not low. I know that I have a good, like, I literally checked it this morning. I know that the closer you are to 750 and what have you, the better. I am closer to literally a few points from 700, bro. And I told him I just started building credit last year, so that could be it. I'm also 21 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like thinking to myself, I know what my score is. Like, I saw the pie chart, I saw where excellent is, and I see how close I am to there. So I'm just not sure why you're looking at me. And I asked him, I said, what is the average score of the people who live here? He said 700. So 699 is not 700, sir? It was the most bizarre thing. And I'm like, wait until it refreshes next month, you know, it's going to gain even higher. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, he sounds ignorant. He sounds like he's just looking for any excuse to be weird, to be discriminatory. Like, his aura was really bad. Even in the apartment, he said something like, when he asked us if we have pets, my boyfriend said no, but she's thinking about getting a dog someday. She wants a dog. I do. I want like a little dog. Like, oh, I think dogs are, I've always like had dogs, with the exception when I lived with my birth parents. Every other household had dogs. And I feel like I'm like low-key a dog whisperer. Whenever I go to spaces or people's homes and they have a dog, the dog is like licking on me, like trying to come sit by me and stuff. I don't know what it is. I wonder if the dog that I lost when I was a little girl is one of my guardian angels, and maybe that's like her spirit, because dogs love me. But I'll see. Yeah, when my boyfriend was like, oh, she wants to get a dog someday, he's like, no, I don't want a dog in my apartment. And I'm like, your apartment, sir? He was like, I don't want the smell. I don't want to have to deal with the smell and the mess and the scratches. And I'm like, that's fine, it's his building. But it was just weird, like, my apartment. Like, okay, sir, like, you and your apartment can enjoy yourselves, because this don't got nothing to do with me. I'm out. I was like, just like, his aura seems off. He seems just off. I didn't appreciate that at all. He said if I can afford it, and he said that a couple times to me, and I'm like, I don't have to like whip out anything to like prove anything to you, so I won't. Instead, I'm just going to like just leave. You know, people, it's amazing the thick skin that I have developed, the armor that I have developed. When people start talking to me crazy and getting up here, like, I have watched people just get up here, just get really, really intense. I've had people disrespect me, like, in my face, say something disrespectful over the phone or something like that. And it is amazing how I would just look straight at you. I would look straight at you and I would hit you with one of these. Or worse. No, maybe this isn't worse, but this is just another one. Or another one. Like, I just have no words for you. And I don't know where it comes from, but I will digest and process everything you said to me later. But like, in the moment, I'm not going to return that energy to you. I'm not even going to do it to myself. It's not worth it, and you're not worth it. And I could have told him about himself in that moment, but I'm like, why? Why? Because for everybody that is out there who is like me, there is a piece of scum that's out there just like him, and he will gravitate towards those people. One more thing before I go, he also talked about the people who lived there before, or not before me, but you know, who lived there before he evicted them. And it was when he brought up the pets, when he said, I don't want them in my apartment. That's when he closed the door. We were walking out, and he said the people who lived here before, they got a dog, and he said that they loved their precious dog, and I told them they couldn't have a dog here, and they decided to just leave to go be with the dog. And he said I evicted him after 2 months. And I'm like, why are you telling us? Like, he's going, you know, I evicted them after 2 months, you know, to be with the dog. And I'm like, why are you telling me about the people who lived here before me, or before anybody else moved in? Like, I just think that that's weird. He was just weird. His energy was weird. I was like, I can't do this because, sir, you are weird. I can't do it. I can't, and it's okay. I'm just gonna keep on. I was feeling quite defeated for a moment after that. My boyfriend was just like, girl, like, don't worry, focus on the fact that you're good. It's not like last year when I was like actually sleeping on my friend's couch because I didn't have a place to stay. At least I have a place and I can move to it. I'm looking to move to a better one. That's a fortunate place to be in, and I love my boyfriend, and I'm thankful to him for reminding me of that. And we drove around and we just looked for more places, and you know, the person, he will not be hearing from me, of course, ever again. And it's interesting because I decided to go look at the place just like on a spiritual whim. Like, maybe this is a sign from the universe. Maybe the universe just wanted me to see that that's not the best place for me, because I was fixed on it, looking at that one and comparing it to the other listings that I saw before, you know, a few days ago. So yeah. I don't want to say that this man was racist. It was just a very uncomfortable experience. I'm sure, I do believe deep down he has some like racist ancestors who are talking to him and sending him covert messages that tell him he is superior, and that's why he looked at me with so much disgust on his face and didn't even realize it probably. However, that's not my issue. That's not my issue. I don't want to be around that kind of energy. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God, for showing me that that's not for me. I will continue to look elsewhere. Okay. And if you experience, first of all, I will say this, like, if you go look for a place, it's always best to go take somebody else. I just want to throw that out there because I have read too many stories about a black woman who's a real estate agent, or just a black woman who goes to see a place and she disappears, something like that. Like, I'm not into it, you know. I'm not saying that everybody's out to get you if you're black or anything like that, but the media does make it seem like that sometimes, and I don't put nothing past nobody. I don't put anything past anybody. I think everybody is capable of being just as good and just as evil. It's just about what day you catch them on or something like that. So I don't know. If you ever go look at places, take somebody with you if you can. Make sure your phone is charged. Make sure you ask questions. Don't feel afraid. Like, you're about to live there. You don't want to put all that money down, especially if they're asking for the security deposits and moving fees, application fees, and all that kind of BS. You do not want to like put your money down in that place and then find out there was ever this issue and that issue and this issue and that issue. And don't take it if it's just gonna be like a place where you're spending like a lot of money that you don't need to spend. If you can find something that's better, if you're not in a desperate time, then take your time with it and make sure you get a place that you really appreciate and really like, because you're gonna wake up in that space every single day. You want to make sure that you like it. And on that note, I would say I think my nails are dry for the most part. So yeah, on that note, I would say tell me what is. Take care.
Gonna give you this mic back, but what I'm gonna say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.